sit down and grab a drink because we're gonna yap for a while today. In the last year, I've been trying for quality over quantity when it comes to my reading. I thought it was about time that we sat down and we kind of talked about how I'm making that happen, which is kind of with the fact that I did a 5-star audit a couple months ago, and it's pulled together little themes, tropes, just like similarities between a lot of the stories that I love. And now when I'm looking for books, when I'm looking to pick up books, I kind of look for these things that I noticed a pattern with, like the things I noticed that I repeatedly enjoy in stories. I want to share these things that I think I love so then you guys can give me better recs and you can help me out and you can kind of understand what I'm looking for and searching for in stories. It's going to be a lot of yapping, it's going to be a lot of examples, it's going to be me asking for a lot of help because I'm always looking for more 5-star reads. That's my goal, is to read really great books, reading the books I'm going to enjoy, and I want to be buying better books. I want to be more aware of what I'm buying and really searching for the right thing. And I think this will just help everyone understand where I'm coming from. And also I'm nosy, and when people do something like this, I do enjoy that. I like to see what they like in books and it helps me give better recs and stuff. So I'm just a nosy person and I want to know all the goods. So we are going to do a lot of yapping, and then there's going to be a follow-up video from me as well with some 5-star predictions that I have figured out based on what I'm seeing that I like. Like I will be saying like, I think I'm going to love this book because it has the things we talked about in this video. So hopefully that will also help kind of see just like how I look at books, how I pick the books I want to read, how I figure out what I'm excited for. Because there are definitely some trends that I see in my reading. One of the first things that has always been very apparent to me is that I love school settings. I don't think this will be surprising for anyone. I feel like I talk about it a lot. But one of the things I found more surprising when I started to look at my reads is how much I specifically love a military academy. I did not realize how many of my favorite books are not just a school setting, but a military academy. I think it's because a lot of military academies have a lot of trials and like training they have to go through. And so it's just like the perfect blend of two things I love, because I love school settings and I love trials. So it blends it really, really, really well together for me. And truly a lot of my all-time favorite books do fit this setting. We have Direbound that has a military academy, Fireborn, The Will of the Many, Fourth Wing, Red Sister, Silver Elite, and Ember in the Ashes. And I think if I looked at my shelves, I probably could find a couple more that fit this as well. Anytime I see the words military school setting, like military training, military academy, you bet I am sold and I want to be picking up this book. But I will say one of the other things I've kind of found looking at this data and this analysis that I've done is just because a book has a school setting that's a military academy does not mean I'm going to like it. Instead, actually what I've noticed is the books I like hit multiple things that are on the list that I love. It'll have a military academy, but it's also going to fit some things that we're going to see down the line. And I would say all of these books you will see repeated on this list multiple times. I will be showing them up as examples. And of course, anytime if you have a rec for something, like if you're like, oh my God, I have a perfect military academy for you, please leave it in the comments down below. I will be checking these out. I will be scrolling through them because I want those 5-star reads. I think a more recent love of mine that I found is what I'm calling girl fantasy. It feels like a CW show to me. I think that is the best way to put it. It's kind of a vibe only thing, so it's a little bit harder to like wrap your brain around, I think. Like it took me a while to figure out like what is it, like what are these things that I like, and I think feeling like a CW show is probably like the best way to put it. But I find that often these series are multi-POV, they're longer, it has romance in it, but it's expansive and epic in scope. And also the focus tends to be all of the characters, not just the main character. Probably one of the greatest examples of this is Zodiac Academy. This is so expansive. There are so many different characters in this, and it's important what happens to all the characters. We get lots of POVs. There's the two sisters, and then there's the boys, and there's everything that happens with all of these characters that matter. Even the found family aspects in this. It's important to know what happens to all of these characters. It feels like a world that I could see playing out on TV because it's not just like in someone's head. It's this whole like crafted universe that I'm watching, and I'm attached to so many things. And then of course there's romance in this, but I would say the focus of the story is never the romance. It is the focus on the characters' journeys while going through all of these things. Another huge example of this is the City of Bones and the Mortal Instruments series. This is a TV show, so it's really easy to say like, yes, this feels like one. There is TV shows that have been made about this series, and it works so well just because of how this is written, how expansive it feels, how long the series is, and how much all of the characters matter. Like we weren't just just in it for Clary and Jace. There were all these other characters that had moments happening to them, and we got to see those and experience them, and it was really important. Another example for me is Bonded by Thorns. I think that this is truly so expansive, and we have POVs coming from all of the main characters, and everything that happens matters. There's relationships with all characters that we get to see too, I guess is a way to put it. In this, it's a wide choose, but the men in this also have relationships that matter. We get to see their moments together. We get to see the conflicts they have. We get to see their happiness together and things like that. It's not all about our main character finding love. It's about everyone coming together, everyone doing these things, every small moment, every big moment. It's really in depth there. And then probably another one for me would be Reign of Shadows and Endings. This one just feels so expansive. There's a lot of like multi-generational, I think, in a lot of these too, and I think that helps. Like we get to see the parents as well as the kids, and there's so much about it. I think when it comes to lots of CW shows, you did get to see the parents as well, and I think that that helps it feel more fleshed out and stuff. It's messy, there's drama, but like it's all about coming together in the end. These are some of my favorite stories. I'm obsessed with how these are told. I want more like this completely. Like this is something I'm absolutely obsessed with, and it's so hard to like explain to someone. So I just call it girl fantasy or CW show in a book. But that's kind of like the way I put it. Like it feels expansive. It feels cinematic. Another big one for me, specifically in like romance, has been reluctant allies to lovers. I don't think I actually want enemies to lovers. I don't think that that is my favorite trope in any ways. I specifically want reluctant allies to lovers. And what I mean is two people who don't really have a choice, but in order to get through something, they have to work together and they make a deal together to do it. Like they are choosing to work together. They're not forced into it in any way. It's just like, okay, in order to get where we want to get, we have to come together. We have to do this, and they're gonna banter and bicker because they don't really like each other, but it's gonna turn into liking. And I think there are some very specific ways that this really does work for me, but it's my favorite thing across all romantasy. One of the ways it works for me really well is in trials. I think it's just like two people forced to get through the trials. Like they have to survive the trials together. They're not gonna make it to the end. Big examples of this is Phantasma. She doesn't want to work with Blackwell at first, but she realizes very quickly that in order to get her end goal, which is winning and finding her sister, she needs to accept his help. And this worked really well because it's kind of like forced proximity in a way into their reluctant allies to lovers, I guess, because they're forced to help each other. They're forced to be around each other. Another trial setting where it worked for me is Serpent in the Wings of Night. Again, they're kind of forced to hang out. They're forced to sleep next to each other because it's for their safety. They're forced to do these things. They're forced to help each other heal in these trials. They're forced into actually helping each other, and it leads to them like opening up to each other. It leads to these like really raw moments that I love of them kind of being like, oh, actually maybe like I do like this person, or like how do I hate this person who's helped me so much. So yeah, Rain and Araya was like a really big reluctant allies to lovers for me. And then another way I found that it really works for me is a marriage of convenience, and the one that this has really hit for me in is House of Bane and Blood. This is like my perfect way that this is done. She was supposed to be married off to a random person that her brother decided so that she could save her family's money and stuff like that. And she takes it into her own hands and makes a deal with Nico. And it's just better than the deal her brother was going to make, and it gave her a semblance of choice. But it's not like she really wants that deal, but if she has to take any deal, this is the best deal. And then they're kind of forced into working with each other based on this deal that they made and things like that. So that has really worked for a marriage of convenience. And I could break it down that I like marriage of convenience. I could break it down that I like trials, but I really specifically think it's this aspect of those things that I enjoy. Like a trial setting where they're not reluctant allies to lovers is still good, but it hits harder when it's reluctant allies to lovers. And as I said, it never means that I'm going to instantly like a trial setting. It never means that this is instant, I'm going to love it. That's not how reading works, at least for me. But it has a better luck to do that. And also it's like one of these things where like if it has 7 of the things on my list, I want to read it because there's like a really high chance of me enjoying it. A big theme in everything I read is wars, rebellions, and revolutions. I can't really like break this down more than that. It's like I want to watch people take down the system. I want to watch the corrupt system fail and falter, and I want to watch our main characters come out on top. And it is a big thing that I love. I love the theme of power corrupting, of propaganda, of corrupt governments, also a struggle of someone who is the face of the rebellion and having to make decisions that affect people and like maybe sacrifice some people. It's a really good discussion for me. It adds like a layer to the story that really, really works for me. And let me tell you, there's a lot of favorites that fit this. We have the Poppy War, which is one of the things I think that really got me into reading. I love this book so much. Along the Razor's Edge, Red Queen, Ashes of the Sun, Fourth Wing, The Bone Season, A Forbidden Alchemy, Fireborn, Direbound, Rose in Chains, Spark of the Everflame, We Who Will Die, Truth Witch, The Final Strife. Honestly, every book around me I probably could continue adding to this list, but I'm kind of feeling like this is enough to show you my point, that I love this and it is like my favorite thing to ever read in a series. And I do think most series talk about it in a way, so I do think this is like a hard one to like 100% pinpoint, but if the overall like grand scheme is let's take over, like, it's a rebellion, it's a revolution, we're taking down the corrupt system at hand, there's someone in power that we need to take down in some aspect. I love it. It's why I love dystopian as a genre too, but it happens in so much fantasy. Like, those conversations happen in all of these, in most books, but these ones have all been ones that really, really work for me, and it is one of my favorite things. So this, with like a lot of the other things I'm saying, works so well. I think something that kind of goes hand in hand with that is that I love to read about a bleak world, like a cruel world, something where society has really like put us down. I think it gives that hope to then take down the system. It leads to that rebellion. I think it's just like the setting that most of those rebellion books are, so I don't want to like talk about it very often. But an example of this I haven't brought up yet as a favorite is The Cruel Prince. Like, this world is so cruel to her, and there's not a rebellion in this in the way that I was talking about wars and revolutions and rebellions, but I think this really does showcase the bleak world. The Final Strife is another one for me that had such a intense world where I was like, oh my gosh, like I like verbally like had reactions to reading what was going on in this world, and it made me more excited to watch it all crumble, I guess. Like, it, seeing how cruel it was and like seeing that, I was like, yes, like let's take this down. And I just feel like there's a lot of nuance to like a situation like this too, and a lot of these books hit that so hard of like how we got here and the parts we play in society to get to this aspect and things like that. So this is something that I like really do love, and I could pull up more examples of it, but I do think it's something that goes hand in hand with wars and rebellions and revolutions. But like some kind of like desolate world I think works for me. Like, even just like the Ninth Reign, it was clear that the planet itself was kind of like out to get people. They were walking and there was like poison and stuff, and like there was like a lack of hope in the start of this story that ends up building up hope as we go, because we're watching it happen. Like, we're watching the revolution start, we're watching the fires be burned within people. Like, I like to watch like what set it off, I guess, or something like that. Like the Hunger Games and how bleak the Hunger Games is, and you start to see the hope of people feeling like maybe they can take down the system through Katniss and through what's happening. I don't really know how to explain this properly, but there's just this thing about like a really bleak world that entices me to then continue and like root for everybody. I'm gonna root for everyone regardless, but like that just like really does like help, and I really do think I find those settings very interesting, and I kind of like relate to like how we could get there, which is really scary. Probably more of a niche thing is I love a talking Bond in a head. It has happened in a lot of my favorite books. And there's just something about being in on a secret, I think, that works really well. It like adds so much to scenes. It's like them having like private jokes in a moment that they probably shouldn't be having those, or whatever it is. It just like makes a relationship feel stronger to me. It makes things feel a little bit more connected. I think it's like a really easy way to add commentary to a scene and things like that. It can be romantic. It definitely can, but it also can be platonic. Some of my favorite examples are, of course, animal companions where you can talk with each other. The Ninth Reign has this, Direbound has this, Fourth Wing has this. Not necessarily an animal companion, but a creature along the Razor's Edge has. But it also can happen in relationships, and I get very excited when I see it in relationships. Fourth Wing, Direbound being big ones with that, but also We Who Will Die has that. And I don't want to spoil other stories that have it, but there are some that are on my list that do have it. And I just love it. It just feels like another like connection for the characters. It is something that I instantly am like, I want to read. I love when it happens. It just like adds something to the story for me. I can't really tell you what it is, but it is something that I've noticed that every time I get it, I'm like, yes, give that to me a little bit more. Oh, probably one of the biggest things I will say I love, the strongest thing that can get me going in a story, is sibling bonds. I have a sibling. I love my sibling. There's something so relatable about doing something for a a sibling, I think, for me. There's something that instantly makes the character so likable for me because I would do anything for my sister, and I think it almost excuses any action they could make for me because I get it. Like, what would I not do to save my sister? What would I not do to help someone I love? In Dire Bound, of course I'm gonna sign up for the military that I might not survive, because how else do I save my sister? Like, it just instantly, I get it. Like, I'm gonna do the most unhinged, irrational thing to save the person I love. But then I also think I do like it in contemporary stories too. It's not just like these irrational decisions that happen. I just think there's something about like sibling motivations that makes sense to me. That protective sibling, like that protective brother in a contemporary romance, it just adds this layer of like almost relatability, I guess. But it's something I absolutely die for. Like, if there are siblings in a story, I will be reading it and we can see the siblings, like we can experience their bond, or it can be the motivations for things. I like it both ways. Zodiac Academy is a big one where we see it, we experience it. The two characters are siblings. We just like watch their moments and stuff happen. In contemporary romances, I think like Lost and Lassoed, this series has like the three siblings we follow. Bourbon and Lies has three brothers, and I liked seeing their interactions. I loved seeing the familiar bonds. But then there's stories like Dire Bound where her motivation is her sibling. Rose in Chains, same thing. Like, she is always talking about her brother. Like, the first inciting incident revolves around her brother. Arcana Academy is the same way. Her motivations for this marriage of convenience come from her sibling. And I do think in general, I just like family bonds. Like, if I wanted to talk about it even more, like, I do love when there's father-daughter relationships. I like when we see more than just the one generation, and that is something that has really worked for me. I know when I was reading The Mortal Instruments, it's one of the things I praised so much about it. I loved having the generations. I loved seeing the parents caring. I loved seeing how they reacted to things that their kids were doing and stuff like that. That one really, really worked for me. Serpent and the Wings of Night has one of the most beautifully nuanced father-daughter relationships for me. Like, that was part of what I loved about this story, is seeing that conversation happen, those moments happen, the struggling with that and things like that. That was something I thought was so beautiful. And I think it's just like, family is something we all relate to. No family is perfect either, so we always see like messy things in that. I can even think of horror books that I loved because they had like family bonds attached to them and things like that. So it's not just siblings, I just think like family in general. Like, I love my parents, but then I also understand like a messy relationship with your parents and trauma you get from your parents and things like that, and how not every parent is perfect. Well, my parents weren't perfect either, but not every parent tries in the best way possible. A lot of them fail their kids, and like, I just think it's such a real and raw piece of our experiences that I really do like when people talk about it in their stories. So something I really do love. Another thing that I found that I really do like is different types of magic in the same story. This is kind of like hard to explain, but it's like every character has its own unique magic. It doesn't have to be that every single character is unique, but maybe there's fire elementals and water elementals. I think for me, I like to see how characters then react, or how like magic is used differently in things. And maybe it comes back to like video gaming, playing RPG, like playing Baldur's Gate 3. It was fun to like try out different characters and different magics, because like depending on what characters I had in my party, I would have to react different with other characters and like prioritize different things. And like, that in a story also is a lot of fun for me. I also just think it's fun to like learn about all the magic, or like get a new character and I'm like, oh, what's their magic gonna be? How are they gonna use it? I feel like you could even count like different species coming together in this, because it doesn't really fully fit it, but like City of Bones, I feel like having all the different factions, like having the shadow hunters and the werewolves and the vampires in a fight, it was like how they all came together, and it was fun to like see all of that. Obviously in Fourth Wing, they all have different signets. It's all different powers, and that's something I loved. I loved like seeing what everyone's signet was gonna be and like trying to predict it sometimes. In Along the Razor's Edge, it's like ingestion magic, and based on what you can ingest, you have different magics and stuff like that. This one was really, really cool. Zodiac Academy has all different types of magics based on what type of fae you are. The Poppy War had it with like different characters pledging to different gods, which gave them some sort of ability. Like Rin pledged to like a fire god in this. Even something just as simple as in Rose in Chains, there's two different factions, I guess, of magic users and how they use their magic. And it was fun for me to see the small differences of each faction and what they believed based on how they use their magic and things like that. Like, we had the heart magic users and the brain magic users, and I found that very like interesting. It just added another layer to the story. And then also something that I do think I could elaborate, I do like it sometimes when like a character can use multiple of those magics, but not every character can use multiples of those magics. Like in Zodiac Academy, our two girls have access to more than just one type of magic, but not everybody has access to more than one type of magic. Some do, some don't. Urban settings has been one that I am shocked that I love. And I shouldn't say urban setting, I guess, because I think a lot of people think urban fantasy with this. Like they're thinking like in our world, our life. That's not what I am thinking, I guess. It does encompass some of those things, but my brain is going to like a city setting. And I think I just like my stories to feel epic in scope. I really do. Like as I'm talking this through, there's something about all of these things that lead to a level of epicness for me. And a lot of times the city setting I like is in a secondary world. And I think secondary world is more exciting for me. However, I still like it in our world as well. For example, there's a fictional city in Half City. We have a fictional like New York style setting where our character lives, and we get to see some of that. We get to see the world she lives in, and I do enjoy that. City of Gods and Monsters was another like secondary world urban setting that I loved. Like we're existing in a city, there's different places we're going to restaurants, we're on the streets, we're seeing all these different factions again that happen within the city setting that I did enjoy. However, City of Bones happens in our world. It is our world that we're seeing this, but there's like more to the scope than just walking through the streets of New York City. Random Shadows and Endings also has a city setting of some sort. I think a lot of like court stories in some way feel like this too. I like seeing more of the world, I guess, more of the politics at play, but an urban setting definitely does feel like it's starting to work for me more and more. I like kind of like experiencing more of like the town, I guess, in general. Like even if I'm just thinking about We Who Will Die, this does take place mainly at the school setting, but I enjoyed when we went into town and we got to hear about those like situations in town. I think Diary Bound also fits this. Since I've been reading the second book too, I might feel even more, but we're seeing more of like the universe. Fourth Wing also, like there is the school setting in Fourth Wing 100%. Like this is a school setting, it's not an urban setting, but we get to see like other places of the world, I guess. So it feels more grand and epic in scope. So I'm kind of like going on a tangent about just like another thing I like. I like urban settings 100%, but then I also just like this idea of this world feeling more like filled out, I guess. There's different cultures, there's different political rulers, there's different things that come together. It feels more like our real world, I guess, for me. It feels like something I could just step into and explore. And then I do think I love me a secret mission or like a secret identity or just some sort of top secret information. I think it feels like there's a reason that our character could get caught. It has me more stressed for her. It has me like, oh, is this person gonna find out? How is she gonna get out of this situation? It just like adds like an intriguing, suspenseful layer for me. In the Bridge Kingdom, she's an assassin come to kill the dude she married. She can't let him find out that she's an assassin. I might like assassin stories too, because in We Who Will Die, she's supposed to assassinate the king. How is she gonna do that? Like she's here to assassinate the king and that's the only reason she's there. And I'm like, oh my god, is she gonna get caught? Arcana Academy, she makes a deal to kind of be like undercover and figure out what's going on in this school. And again, I was like, oh my god, is she gonna get caught? Well, she's doing these things as she's trying to figure out information. And Ember in the Ashes, again, she's a spy coming to figure some information out and she can't get caught. Silver Elite also fits this. She's a spy in this kind of like, she has an information. She literally is holding a secret. People can't find out about her. And I literally was stressed thinking like, when is someone going to find out? Like, how are we keeping this a secret? Like, what's gonna go wrong? Like, things like that really do add to a story. They add a layer to a story for me. And then another one, I told you I had so much to yap about that I think I've been loving, is having a character have a pre-established backstory of some sort. She isn't just like a naive character. I do like when a character is like thrown into something that she never had a choice in, but I do specifically like it when there's something about this character that was already like, strong is the wrong word, already has like some sort of information or whatever it is. In We Who Will Die, our main character already won a trial and that's why she's being asked to come compete for this new trial. So she already has these experiences. She's already been training. She feels like there's like a grasp on it, like she can actually do it and she kind of knows what she's doing. It's the same within Half City. Our main character has been demon slaying for a while already. So even though what she's being thrown into is brand new to her, she picks up on everything pretty quickly and we don't have to watch her be like completely confused by everything. it just adds like a level of like, I'm figuring out this world with her, but I'm not figuring out who this character is with her, I guess, at the very start. In the final strife, our main character has been training to enter this tournament again. Like, she already had kind of like a name for her. She was already battling in the city. Like, she already had a reputation, I guess. Editing Cassidy, because listening to myself yap about this point, I think what I like is that it feels like the character existed on paper before the book started. It feels like she already had a life to live. I think it makes her feel more like a real human to me. It feels like there's more to her than just what's about to happen in the story. Like, I have a life of 28 years before you saw me in this video today, you know? And I like getting that kind of like backstory and like having her already have that. I just think it makes her feel more human, I guess. And then because I've been reading more contemporary romance, let's talk about just like one thing that I think I know I like in contemporary romance. And I think you probably could implement it to other things in my reading as well. I love when characters have a hobby or something they're passionate about. And maybe this goes back to me having a character that has a pre-established like background of some sort. It feels like there's something about the character that exists outside the rest of what we're learning, I guess. But like Forget Me Not, she's a wedding planner. We get to see the wedding industry in this. Not Another Love Song, we see like their love of the music industry. We get to see them creating music together. In the Bourbon Boy series, they have a bourbon franchise. They're creating bourbon. They're passionate about the bourbon. We get to go to the facility and see how it's made. Even in the Lost and Lassoed series, we get to see the farm life. We get to see them working on the farm, and they're passionate about what they do. They care about the farm. They care about the horse riding. It just adds another level to the story for me. It just adds a realness to the character, because I have passions, I have hobbies, and I think it's easier to relate to a character who loves something for me than just a character who is just like a lost puppy in love with a male MC or a female MC. Like, it just adds to what makes us human, I guess, in a lot of ways. I probably forgot some things, but I think that is my list, and I'm going to point you to a couple things. I have a vlog on my channel where I actually did this. I went through this and I picked books based on this 5-star audit, like this one that I just showed you, and I tried to see if I could find a 5-star by doing this, and spoiler, it worked. I did. And so there's this vlog that I would love for you to watch. I was so excited about this, and it was really what made me start to really look at these things, because it worked. Like, I did it. There was a fail too, but like, it did work. And then I will have a video coming in about a week's time. So whenever that one's ready, I will have it on the screen that's like 5-star predictions, and I'll be walking through why I think it's a 5-star prediction in that one as well. And if you've made all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a star emoji. Why not? I love any book recs down below. Love to know what you like in books and things like that. Like, I'd love for you to do like a mini audit down below as well. I think it's just like so fun to see, and like sometimes I steal them off other people's. I'm like, ooh, yes, I like that too. And then I hope you just have an absolutely remarkable day.